Hello, my name is Kayla and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy that you're here, and today we're going to be doing a long overdue updated bookshelf tour. I am very excited to take you guys through my bookshelves today. It has been a minute since I've done an updated one, probably since I've lived in this house. So I think about it, it's probably been 2024 since I've done one. I do attempt to not go through every single book that I own, but it is tough because I get distracted very easily. I at least tell you about the ones that I have read and point out if I haven't read the book. I organize my shelves by genre typically, and within genre, I try to organize them by author. And then I just have a lot of my favorite ones facing out. I do recognize, disclaimer, that I have a lot of books. It is something that brings me a lot of joy. I try to buy a lot of my books secondhand, but some of these are just bought new full price. But I use Pango Books, which is an app that is like a secondhand purchasing app. I also have a local place that I go to, Second and Charles. I know they're a chain. That's another good place. And yeah, I just really like reading. I do also do a lot of audiobooks and support my local library that way. There's a lot of really accessible ways that you can read that are not buying brand new books. So I hope that this doesn't make you feel upset if you don't buy a lot of new books. That's not the goal of this video. It's just to show you my collection and what I enjoy. So I hope that you like it, and I'll see you later. Alrighty, here is an overview of my shelves for everyone. Okay, so I have some rough organization that I go back and forth on how I want it, but for now I'll show you. This first shelf is mostly Sarah J. Maas. As you can see, big fan of all of Sarah J. Maas's work. Up top you can see I have my Funko Pops, all of my Disney Funko Pops. I used to be big into collecting. I'm not as much anymore, but I still love having them. So here is some of those, an example of my tab system, which I went wild on for Throne of Glass in particular. This is another series that I really love. I think it's called Clash Kingdom series that I never hear anybody talk about. I'm going to try to talk about the ones that I haven't read yet, just so you know kind of what's roughly on my TBR. I have not read the third one in this series, but I've read these two and they're fantastic. Then we have over here a continuation of my Sarah J. Maas shelves. This is a special edition that Hunter, my husband, got me for Christmas. This is a mask that I wore for a Nesta cosplay that I just keep up there. And then my friend Katie got me this from Etsy. It's a cereal. All right, and then going down here is more fantasy. I kind of have it sorted by primarily genre, and some stuff has some crossover. Here is my Brandon Sanderson collection. A lot of Brandon Sanderson's books I did in audiobook. I did just realize that I have two Robin Hobb mixed into here. But to me, I think of them very similarly. I love Robin Hobb. All of their series are fantastic, and I don't own them all, but they're all great. As far as ones I haven't read, I have not read the Mistborn Era 2 yet, so these two are unread. Everything else in this stack I have read. Alrighty, and here we have the Six of Crows duology, which is Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I loved both of these. I think they're fantastic. We have The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I also love this one. And then one more Robin Hobb that I actually borrowed from my friend Josh that I need to give back to him. And then I have this little Starless Sea book nook thing that my friend Cody got me. And then my Wind and Truth copy. Okay, here we have more fantasy, and then we kind of get into fantasy horror here. I mainly have Japanese Gothic kind of facing out because I just read it and I'm obsessed with it, and so I want it on display behind me. But we have the Magic Steeped in Poison, which these covers are really pretty. And then this is the sequel. I did really enjoy these. We have A Source Has Come to Call by Tegan Kingfisher. I've read a decent amount of T. Kingfisher. This is my only fantasy I've read by them truly, so I kept that up here. Gods of Jade and Shadow, which I just thought was okay, but I like to keep my book club book copies, so a lot of these that I may not necessarily love that I keep on my shelves are book club books. For the most part, I try to only keep things if it is at very least a 3.5 star, but some of these I have kept for various reasons, sentimental value,
etc. Then we have To Shape a Dragon's Breath, which I love this one. I feel like more people should talk about it. The sequel came out this year, and I'm excited to get to it. And it's essentially like an indigenous Fourth Wing. This is another read from this year that I think I've talked about on some of my favorites list already. This is fantastic. It is a short read, but it is very... Oh, some stray tabs fell out of here. I'll have to put those away later. Alrighty, moving on, we have Vicious and Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. This was gifted to me, this pretty box set, by my friend Cody. And then we have Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I really enjoyed this one. It is a YA kind of like fantasy horror-ish. It's very good. Then we have the sequel. I don't have the original copy because I let my mom borrow it. And this is the sequel to the Dallarga Dream Department. This is actually my friend Josh's copy. I have a lot of other people's copies on my shelf that I need to give back. Midnight Library, which I read this year and I liked. And then, like I mentioned, Japanese Gothic, fantastic. Blood Over Bright Heaven. It is, these two are special editions, so I'll show you. This is a fantastic book that I've talked about before on here, so I won't go into a lot of detail, but it has the red sprayed edges. And then my Calabasas copy also has some cool edges too. Okay, moving on to more fantasy. This is definitely the most that I have of a genre, which makes sense because it's what I mostly read. And I have some of my trinkets here. This was gifted to me by my mom. This was gifted to me by my friend Katie when she went on a trip to Africa. And then this is a like book embossing stamp that I have. Here is my Neil Gaiman collection from Hunter that he's gifted me. This is Unread, a newer purchase that I made at, I think this was at secondhand. Yeah, I got this at Second Charles. Still need to read this one. I've heard really good things. Lonely Castle in the Mirror I read recently and I did enjoy it. Will of the Many, another recent purchase that I need to get to that is intimidating to me because it is thick. And then we have Kill the Beast, which is still on my TBR. This is like a fantasy, like fairy tale retelling. These Violent Delights I really enjoyed. This is like a Romeo and Juliet fantasy retelling. And then this is the Daughters of Zidar, I think is how you pronounce it. It is a like fantasy elements-based book that I have not read yet that I would want to get to. And then the rest of these are also on my TBR. These are, I try to keep kind of like similar book of the month books in one place, but this is Rings of Fate, Starling House, Teller of Small Fortunes, and then The Wild Huntress, all fantasy book of the month books. Alrighty, and another, you guessed it, fantasy shelf. I have a lot of my like mythology fantasy here. So this is Hera by Jennifer Saint. This is based off of obviously Hera from Greek mythology. The Keeper of Night is like a samurai retelling. And then we have Ariadne by Jennifer Saint as well, which is another Greek mythology retelling. We have Kaeki, which I have not read yet, and I'm really looking forward to. We have Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. I've also not read this one, but I have read Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows, her other two books. This one just takes place in the same universe. Then we have some more like superhero type books. So we have Catwoman, which funny enough is by Sarah J. Maas. I don't know if a lot of people know that she wrote a Catwoman book, which is kind of cool. I have not read it yet. Then we have Legendborn, which is a really good one. And then I have the Serpents and Wings of Night series. I've only read the first one. These two are on my soon-to-be TBR because I loved this book. We have A Study in Drowning and A Theory of Dreaming. I have read the first one, but I've not read the second one. Then we have Among the Beasts. I'm going to show you this one because it's really pretty, by Ashley Poston, who writes romance typically. I've listened to a lot of her romance audiobooks, and this was my only fantasy of hers, and I really liked it. We have The Cruel Prince and The Wicked King. I've read the first one. These were really popular on like BookTube a long time ago, so I read the first one. I thought it was just okay. I probably will unhaul these at some point because I just don't see myself like choosing this over another one anytime soon. Kind of same with this one from Blood and Ash because I know it was really popular, but if somebody can convince me I need to read it, I would read it. All right, rounding out my fantasy collection, we have this last shelf, which is a lot of like series. These are, of course, as you can see, the Rebecca Yarros Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I'm not a big fan of these, to be honest. I know that's like an unpopular opinion. I do love that they got a lot of people into reading, especially reading fantasy, But there's so much other fantasy books that I would choose over these. They're entertaining enough, but I don't think they're the best written. But hey, what can I say? This should probably be up here because it's another mythology retelling. It's actually like a King Arthur retelling, Half Sick of Shadows. I haven't read it yet. I have my Olivia Blake collection, which is just these 4 books. Girl Dinner is a newer one that I've added to my collection. It's an Aardvark book. Aardvark and Book of the Month are the 2 subscription services that I used for new releases. Then we have the Atlas 6 books. This is the first one. This is the second one. I have them out of order because of the height. I really enjoyed the Atlas 6, and I have not read the Alice Paradox yet. Then we have Masters of Death, which has been on my TBR for a hot minute, and I really like the cover, but I don't know why I just haven't prioritized reading it. We have The Book That Wouldn't Burn that was gifted to me by my brother-in-law that I started. Wasn't in the right headspace for it, so I put it down and would like to get back to it. Gilded Wolves, which is a YA fantasy that was okay. We read it for book club. Horrid, which I really like the cover. It is a YA horror fantasy kind of thing. Uh-oh. And then I don't have a lot of classics in my collection. This is The Haunting of Hill House, which I bought because I loved the show. The book is not very similar to the show. And then I just have some trinkets here, including a little Mario figurine that is strapped. And then we have a couple of my Zodiac Academy books, which I do really enjoy this series, and I need to pick it back up. Alrighty, moving on to thriller/mystery. Aside from 1 or 2 here that are fantasy that I kind of just put here, because I like the aesthetic of all this black book kind of bases, and they're all the same size because most of these are Book of the Month. But we have Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This is a gothic fantasy. Then we have Inkblood Sister Scribe, which is fantasy. We have The Spells for Forgetting, which is mostly mystery with a sprinkle of fantasy mixed into it by Adrienne Young. I enjoyed that one. Then we have The Wilder Women, which I compare a lot to Life is Strange. So if you like Life is Strange, I think you would really like that. It's got fantasy, but also mystery. This is still on my TBR. Phantasma? I don't know. It's a haunted house, fantasy mystery type 2. We have Silver Elite, which is romantasy, I believe, that is still on my to-read list. This one also has cool edges, as you can see on the top. And then we have my Riley Sager collection. I'm a big fan of Riley Sager. I have a couple in a different spot just because they fit better. But we have The House Across the Lake, The Middle of the Night, With a Vengeance, and The Only One Left, which is my favorite of his. Sprinkled in here, I also have Forget Me Not by Stacey Willingham. And then here at the bottom is more mystery, mostly. Some horror is sprinkled in here. We have The Ghost Rider, which I haven't read, that I got from Book of the Month. The Escape Room, which I really enjoyed. It is literally an escape room, kind of thriller mystery. God of the Woods, which is a mystery that I thought was fine. Then we have The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year that I'm saving for Christmas because it's a Christmas book and it's really cute. Then we have The Dead House, which is a mixed media type book. I kind of have my mixed media stuff here just because it's one of my favorite subtropes. This is my favorite underrated book. It is really cool and it's about there's a lot of really cool stuff in here I don't want to spoil, but mixed media, again, kind of audio recordings, newspaper clippings, things like that. Same with The Appeal, which I read and really enjoyed. The Twyford Code I started, which is the same author, Janice Hallett, but I didn't like it as much as The Appeal. I don't know. I might have just not been in the mood for it. We have the Treasure Hunters Club, which I read with Books and Lala on her channel, which was really fun. We have House of Leaves, which is a behemoth of a book to get through that I want to try again, maybe sooner rather than later, we'll see. And then we've got Cade's Cove, which is based in a local legend in Tennessee, which is kind of cool, that I picked up on vacation. Haven't gotten to it yet. We have If We Were Villains, which is a Shakespeare type, more modern book, which I didn't love, but I'm keeping because it's a book club book. The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle is a fantastic mystery with like a time loop element that I highly recommend. We have Defending Jacob, which is based off of an Apple TV show with Chris Evans, which I think is fantastic. It's like a legal thriller. This one I picked up recently. It was actually technically gifted by my sister-in-law, Stevie. And it is like a werewolf, like retelling fantasy, feminine rage type story. And I got it in like a mystery box. We have Malice, which is a like Japanese like detective type book that I thought was fine. It was not the best mystery, but again, book club book. We have the Saturday Night Ghost Club, which is a really cool mystery that I compare a lot to like Stranger Things. And then we have the Christmas Appeal, which is a fantastic little Christmas mystery by the same author, the Janice Hallett, sorry, that is like mixed media and stuff. Over here, we have mostly romance with maybe a stray here or there. This is my like Mickey and Minnie little wedding thing that someone got me and Hunter for our wedding. And this is just like something I won at like a carnival, little skunk guy. It's very cute. But we have Abby Jimenez, just for the summer, fantastic romance. I really want to read more by Abby Jimenez. Good Spirits, which is a Christmas romance. This is like a rom-com, I believe. The 3 Lives of Kate Kay. The Bones Beneath Our Skin by TJ Klune. This is like a, I think this is like a YA romance with fantasy. We have The Favorites, which I really want to get to, which is like ice skating romance. We have Most Eligible, which is a like dating show, which sounds really fun. This one is a recent release that I don't know where to put yet. But it's like a woman is like a modern trad wife and she gets transported to like a long time ago and has to actually like be a trad wife, which is very interesting. We have Witchy Wood, which is like a witchy romance. This is a nonfiction. I don't know why it's here. I need to move it. But this is no, it's not nonfiction. It is like a like contemporary story by Jeanette McCurdy. And then we have this interesting book that I'm excited to get to soon, which is M. Night Shyamalan and Nicholas Sparks, which sounds fun. Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston, which I read and enjoyed. The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. Haven't gotten to that one yet. And neither one of these two I've gotten to, which is Get Stuff Done and Soul Searching by Lila Sage, which look at this cover. And by the way, these bookshelves are from IKEA. I'll link them down below. It's been a minute since I've done another book tour, so I'll relink them. These, I'm not going to go through all of them, but these are all of my Disney like retellings. I'm a big Disney fan. If you don't know, that is something that I take a lot of joy from. So here's some of my other like memorabilia. 2 of my favorite things. I love these snow globes right here. This is one from my childhood that my mom got me, and this is one that Hunter, my husband, got me. Beauty and the Beast is my favorite, if you can't tell. But I will say basically these stories, like all of these right here, are like what if stories with Disney, which is kind of cool. Like an example being like, this is like what if Belle's mother cursed the beast. This is what if Rapunzel's mother drank a potion from the wrong flower. Like some like really cool like what if concepts. This is also an Avatar book, which is cool. Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it just kind of fit best up here. And then down here I have a really old edition of Alice in Wonderland and some other Beauty and the Beast books. Okay, here we have more mystery, which we have the Writing Retreat, which I really enjoyed. These are 2 other, honestly, I need to move. I'll do this right now, honestly. You're gonna witness this live. This is the same author as these 2 books. A Flicker in the Dark and All the Dangerous Things I really loved, and I'm excited to get to Forget Me Not by her. The Night Swim by Megan Golden. I really enjoyed. It has like a podcast in it, which is kind of cool. The Silent Patient, I think everyone and their mom read, and rightfully so, because it was really interesting. I haven't gotten to his other book, The Fury, but I've heard it's not as good. We have Dark Corners by Megan Golden. I'm just going to move this. You're witnessing me reorganizing. Same author. And this is actually a continuation. I have not read this one yet. We have The Haunting of Payne's Hollow, which I haven't gotten to. 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard, which is the first book I read like during COVID about COVID, which is kind of crazy. This is a short story collection from Aardvark, One by Night and Other Stories. This is technically a sci-fi mystery, I guess, The Once and Future Me. I started it and didn't love it. I might revisit it, or I might unhaul it. We'll see. Then we have my Ruth Ware books, which I really like her as a mystery writer. I haven't read this one by one, but I have read all of these other ones by her, which is Turn of the Key, The Death of Mrs. Westaway, In a Dark, Dark Wood, and this is another Riley Sager Final Girls. Down here we have my Stephen King collection, which I love Stephen King. Some of his books are hit or miss for me, but I really just like to collect them. I have not read either one of these three, The Long Walk, Insomnia, or The Stand. I have read Misery. I thought it was fine. And then I have not read Cujo or Christine. This is a Dean Koontz novel, Watchers, which is fantastic. It's like a sci-fi horror. And then going back to this section, we have Holly by Stephen King, which I've started but have not finished. We have some of my T. Kingfisher, which I should move this, which I read recently, which is very interesting. This is my T. Kingfisher novels, which is A House with Good Bones, What Moves the Dead, What Feast at Night, and What Stalks the Deep. All really good and short stories. The rest of my Stephen King, Pet Sematary is my favorite by him. I really, really enjoyed Pet Sematary. We have The Institute, which I enjoyed. And then we move on to a couple different ones. Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. This one was really trippy and it has to do with like dreams, like lucid dreaming and things like that. We have Unburied Carol, which I have not read. These two are by Craig DeLue, which I like these. They do have multimedia in them as well, and they're very trippy, like horror. Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I really enjoyed this. The show is also really good if you haven't seen it. My other Stephen King, The Shining. Love The Shining. How to Sell a Haunted House is my only Grady Hendrix I've read, and I don't know, Grady Hendrix, his writing style, I've read one other one by him. It's a little too jokey for me, but I conceptually really liked this one. Alrighty, down here is kind of a mix match of nonfiction, like a lot of these are nonfiction, and some like YA horror. But this is a book that was gifted to me by my friend Josh, and it is like a book that's from like a local Hawaii author. We have some nonfiction. I used to watch Sylvia Browne with my grandma, and so this is very nostalgic to me. We have a book about space, a book about different signs from the earth, a book about Steve Jobs, Cynthia Erivo's memoir, and a memoir called Free, which is kind of like also nonfiction. Counting the Cost by Jill Duggar. This is a local book from Savannah that I got on vacation. And then here we have a genealogy type book that I really want to get to that's called She Has Her Mother's Laugh. This is The Midnight of the Garden of Good and Evil, which is also based in Savannah. And then these are all of my books by Danielle Vega, which is a YA horror author. I eat her stuff up. I think it's so good. I've read all of them except these two on the end, which are a different series. The rest of these are fantastic. Okay, my phone battery is dying, so I have to hurry. But this is one of my favorite books of all time, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I have 2 copies. One of them is signed, and then one of them is the one that I actually read. One of them is a gifted copy. And then I have some of my Squishmallows here and a little Pascal. And then we just have some more like fantasy, more whimsical stories, Water Moon, and The Elsewhere Express by Samantha Soto Yambo. I have a R.F. Kuang that I was gifted by Cody Babel, and then we have The Storied Life of A.J. Vickery, which is a really fun one that was gifted by my husband, and it is by the same author that wrote Tomorrow, and I really enjoyed it. Babel I have not read yet. Okay, here we have kind of like my historical fiction / contemporary shelf here. I need some more room for this because I've started reading it a lot more recently. But Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid is fantastic. I was obsessed with this book last year. I've talked about it a bunch, but if you like space books, if you like sapphic, if you like historical novels, this is fantastic. Shark Heart is a very different one. It's very experimental. It's a very good summer read. If you're looking for like books to read on the beach, it's a really good one. It is heartbreaking, but really good. I have not read Infinite Country yet. It is a novel that is about a family, I believe, that has immigrated from Colombia, but I might be wrong about that. Evil Eye is a fantastic novel about a woman who is going through a lot of mental health struggles. And then we have my Charlotte McGonaghy books, which I love her writing so much. Both of these are 5 stars, Once There Were Wolves and Wild Dark Shore. This is a book that was gifted from my husband's uncle that passed away, and I have really wanted to get to it, but it kind of makes me sad to read it since he gifted it to me. I don't know. I want to read it soon. And we have Banyan Moon, which I started but haven't finished. This is a new book that actually got as an early copy, which is really cool, that I haven't read yet. Under Lake by Erin L. McCoy. I really enjoyed Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. It is very different from her typical writing that I've read, and I loved it. It's kind of like it's contemporary with a little bit of a mystery type vibe. Lula Dean's band, Little Library of Banned Books, Dirtport Islanders, both of these we read for book club. All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir. I've not read that yet. That is a contemporary like YA novel. Earth Eater, read for book club. Self Portrait with Nothing is a very interesting book based in Poland. It is, I think it's translated as well. It's kind of trippy, but I like it. Women Talking, I've not read yet. Big Little Lies is fantastic, especially if you like quote chick lit. The Unexpected Inheritance of Inspector Chopra is a really good one. Midnight at the Electric, I have not read yet. Little Fires Everywhere is really good. Reminds me kind of Big Little Lies in a way. Also a Hulu show. And then we have The Rain Herein, which we read for book club. That was just fine. Alrighty, same deal with this shelf. Is more historical fiction. This is another Squishmallow. And we have The Women by Kristen Hanna, which I loved this book. One of my favorites again from last year. The Bookbinder, which I have not read, but I would like to get to. Woman of Light, which I really enjoyed. Whitby, which is a new release from this year. It's more mystery, I think, but I didn't have any room over there, so I put it over here instead. Malibu Rising, one of my favorite books of all time by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Another really good beach read, which I might be making a video about very soon. Let Us Descend by Jasmine Ward, which is a historical novel that is very sad but has very important topics that it talks about. Same with American Dirt. And Take My Hand, really. All of these are heartbreaking, but very good. Lima of Tehran, another favorite. Cursed Daughters, I read this year for book club and really enjoyed. I believe it either came out this year or last year, I think. Canticle, which I haven't gotten to yet. The Great Divide is on my list. And The Book Thief, while I know it is very well beloved and is considered a classic, I have not read this yet and have kept it on my shelf in hopes of getting to it. Two more, actually really 3 more of my favorites, and kind of what got me into like historical fiction as a genre. The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, Pachinko, and The Daughters of the Reach, all really good, all kind of different areas of time and cultures. And then 2 other book club books right here that I have read. Down here we have mostly sci-fi with some fantasy sprinkled in. These, if you see books up here like this, which I think these are my only 2 this way, it's because I just got them and I don't have anywhere to put them yet. But I want to show you this cover because it's really pretty. It's The Girl with a Thousand Faces by Sunny Dean, which is kind of like supernatural fantasy, I believe. The Last Contract of Asako, which is by Fonda Lee, who wrote the Jade City series, which I have not read, but I've heard this is a really great sci-fi novel that just came out. We have The Mercy of Gods, which is like a space opera sci-fi. I have not read this Jedi Battle Scars book yet, but I really want to. We have Annie-Bot, which is like an AI robot horror sci-fi book. Ministry of Time, which is like a time loop sci-fi, which I enjoyed. The Measure, which is really interesting dystopian, kind of like sci-fi, but had a couple flaws that didn't make it like a perfect book. The Natural Way of Things I've not gotten to yet. Got that this year. Salt Crop is a great one that I read for book club last year. It's like a sci-fi dystopian novel as well. You Weren't Meant to Be Human. I think this is like an alien sci-fi, which I haven't read yet. Same with the original prequel Star Wars book, which I'm a big Star Wars fan. Still haven't read this. Want to get to it. This one I read this year. It is in my top that I haven't talked about a lot yet, but this is like a sci-fi multimedia book, which was really good. And then just some more sci-fi. None of these. Oh, actually, this is one of my favorite books, Children of Time. I need to get to the rest of the series, but this was like a perfect book. The rest of these I haven't read or I don't have a ton to say about. And then I'm not going to go through all of these because I'm not super passionate about classics, but I do have a decent amount. I want to get to more of them, but sometimes I feel like I'm like forcing myself to read them and I don't really ever want to do that. So I try to just get to these when I'm in the mood for them. Really the only ones I've read here are The Handmaid's Tale. I've also read The Great Gatsby, like in school. The Picture of Dorian Gray I read. The Outsiders, Frankenstein, and that's really it. The rest of these I would like to get to. Alrighty, now this is my manga section. If you know me, you know I'm obsessed with Attack on Titan. I have actually not finished the manga. I have finished the show. Those are some of my Funko Pops and the manga and omnibuses I have collected. Here's a couple more. I've read some of these. I have Parasite, Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia. The only one I've read of these is Tokyo Ghoul, the first one, which I did like. I do really like the show. Uzumaki, I enjoyed. Death Note and Lore Olympus, I have not read these two in their completion yet. And then we get to the fun part, which is like my nostalgic books. I've been trying to recollect my childhood series that I was obsessed with, and I'm unashamed to say that I love the Twilight books, like, with my whole heart, which is why I have, like, the white collector's edition of them, because I just think they're so cool. I'm not going to take this out to show you, but big fan. Here is some other ones that are, like, for a younger audience. This book broke me, and trigger warning if you read this, because there's a lot of really detailed mental health stuff in here. Then we have more of my, like, high school series, including these two by David Leviathan, Another Day and Every Day. We have the House of Night series, including a new book by them that I haven't read yet. The Vampire Academy series, and the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series. Moving on, we have kind of a hodgepodge of my childhood reads, including some Hunger Games, some Divergent, some Phantom Stallion, the Warrior Cats books, just a couple of them. Series of Unfortunate Events, the Chronicles of Narnia. These books are really good. If you know, you know. I don't even know what this series is called, to be honest with you, but I love these. Then we've got more YA. In middle grade, this was gifted to me by my brother, and I have started it but haven't finished it, and I've enjoyed what I've read. These are some of my, like, most formative books by Cornelia Funk. The Inkheart series, like, got me into reading for the first time, so they hold a special place in my heart. And then we have my Harry Potter books, and that's all. I've done a full desk tour before, so I'm not going to do that. You can watch that down below if you would like. But I will tell you, I do put books here that don't have a home yet. This is like ones that I've just purchased. They kind of go here until I decide where they need to go.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and comment down below if you've made it this far, which of the books that I said I haven't read I should read next. Bye!